Infertility is skyrocketing. People are struggling. We used to say 30 years ago, oh, he's so young, they cannot be that ill. Now we see young people getting sicker. That makes me think, what is happening? Are we fixing anything? Are we treating patients? Are they getting better? Following the standard of care, it doesn't work for everyone. Everybody is so different. And functional medicine is about healing. It's a beautiful medicine, delivers beautiful results. The transformations of my patients, absolutely amazing. Great healing follows a specific sequence. It's our 5R system. We have 5 R's. And first one is
Welcome, everyone, to our first episode of the 5R Method. I am so proud and excited to be here today talking to Dr. Marina Yuabova. Hi, Dr. Marina. How are you?
hello, I'm great. And how are you?
I'm just fine. Thank you. There's so much that we've even had in previous conversations about how important it is for patient education to understand the other options that they have for healing, for health, for getting to the root of some of the issues that they have. So I am so excited and really honored to have this conversation with you today and help educate the world on why you are leading and spearheading the effort in functional medicine, and just to educate patients on why it's so important and necessary for them to consider. So let's jump right into it. You know, we live in a world where most people have more lab results than answers, but what if medicine could decode your body's blueprint for healing? Welcome to the 5R Method. Dr. Marina, how excited are you for episode 1 of this podcast?
I'm very excited. Honestly, this method came about a while ago, and I would like to share how it came about, that how they are able to help people using that method.
Fabulous. Well, let's start at the beginning. Take us back to where your medical journey started. What were your early years like? How did you get inspired?
Well, I love medicine and naturally was very, very curious. And just very curious girl and loved the medicine. Loved everything it had to do, everything it had to offer, seeing people not being well and then getting better and being well. And I went into School of Nursing first, got my bachelor's and master's, became nurse practitioner, started practicing, then went to doctorate program, graduated that. After that program, went to school for naturopathic doctors, graduated that, and it opened my eyes, that medicine is amazing. Yes, people practice it differently because, as we spoke with you, different educational background.
Mm-hmm.
But once you understand how body heals and what had to happen for body to heal, it's absolutely amazing because we are created very specific way. We are created to heal and rebalance. Everything is done right.
That's such a great point. We're going to talk so much more about just masking symptoms and masking the issue, which we do with traditional medicine versus actually getting to the root cause of the issue and healing it so it doesn't exist anymore. And you've worked in both traditional hospitals and functional clinics. What moment made you say, or what was the aha moment where you're like, there has to be a better way?
I worked in a hospital for lots of years, and I've seen the same picture over and over again where patients would come for diabetes, you give them a medication, and you don't just give them medication for diabetes, you also give them medication for cholesterol. Like, it's a whole bunch of things that you give at the same time. When patients come back, their blood work is better, but they're not feeling better, and they still would have complications of diabetes that they will die from, And that makes me think, what is happening? Are we fixing anything? Are we treating patients? Are they getting better? And by the way, when we conduct history and physical, the history we ask, do you have diabetes? Patient said, no, I don't have diabetes anymore. I'm on diabetes medication. But if you take that medication away, they have diabetes again. So what did we fix? Did we fix the same thing for high blood pressure? It's like you put them on blood pressure medication, blood pressure goes away. It's a normal marker, it's normal. But as soon as you take it away, give it 2 to 3 days, it's skyrocketing. So did we fix anything? So average patient would come, would have 2 to 3 conditions, and would have a whole list of medication. So 2 to 3 medications to deal with condition, and all the rest of medication to deal with adverse effects. We call it polypharmacy. It's like so many medications, and people would get sick from taking so much because all of that has to also leave the system, right? Whatever comes in has to come out.
Right, right.
That causes more problems than offers solutions.
And not to mention, it's a life sentence of having to take that medication because, like you said, the second we subtract it, the symptoms start all over again. So it's not like we've really solved anything. We've managed the discomfort, and we've managed, perhaps, yes, we've increased longevity, but kind of at what cost, right? No one wants to be going to the pharmacy, twice a week for the rest of their lives almost.
Yeah, but also quality of life. Are we changing the quality of life? Is it getting any better? No. Are we doing anything? Is it beneficial? So this is what we should look at and pay attention to. How we actually can improve the outcome, what the patient's goals are, and everybody has different goals. So that has to be taken into consideration.
And that brings me to my next question. It seems like there's a big misunderstanding about healthcare versus healing. What's the biggest misunderstanding that you're seeing between the two of those?
So healthcare more it's concentrated about fixing what's broken. Honestly, the best, I'm not saying Western medicine is bad, it's not. Our emergency care is amazing. But what about everything else? And functional medicine is about healing. How can we heal the body? How can we heal the individual? And again, we cannot disassemble the body. Body is one. So if we see in Western medicine, it is GYN is a separate doctor, right? GI is a separate doctor. Endocrinologist is a separate doctor, but body is one. Why we have so many different specialists to heal one system? It should be one. And who understands how system works, and put all of the pieces together to change the outcome. That's how it should be. You should not be having so many different specialists. God forbid you need a specialist. Now, after COVID, doctors are very busy and constantly lying. Like patients have to wait for months to see a specialist. What's going to happen during that month?
Absolutely.
And after another specialist and somebody else. What people are getting help? What's happening with that health?
And that's so
individual.
That's so interesting. The body works and talks to each other, right? All the different parts of the body talk to each other, but we have, 100 different types of doctors who are not talking to each other to try to heal the same body. So it's like we need to mimic how the body works with how the healthcare works. Is that right?
Exactly. So now I'm seeing very interesting things, and I'm sure lots of providers see the same thing, where patients and their conditions are getting younger, like young people getting sicker. If we used to say 30 years ago, oh, he's so young, they cannot be that ill. Now we see that young people are ill, very ill. What is happening? Like we have to understand that we need to address the system as a whole. We need to have the patients need to onboard somebody in their care that understand their physiology. Following the protocols, following the standard of care, it doesn't work for everyone. Everybody is so different. So that's why in functional medicine, of course, everybody practices functional medicine differently, but understanding as a system as a whole, even their psycho-emotional is so important because people might have subconscious blocks of healing because there is some kind of gaze. It sounds bizarre, but it is reality. So having the first consultation, actually understanding what they're saying and understanding what they're talking about, a lot already comes to the surface. So it's a very different process.
Wow. No, you're spot on. The emotional health talks straight to the physical health. And that's usually, it seems like, the very first place where the body gets sick, it starts emotionally. Is that what you're seeing in younger patients, or is that a trend that you're noticing?
I'm noticing this trend over and over again and again. As we have a saying, healthy body is a healthy soul. But what is first? Is it body or
It's
soul?
all chicken and the egg.
Exactly. So what's first? What suffers first? That's what we need to understand. And what's causing this? So once we address the cause, everything falls into place, which is amazing. It's beautiful to see. It's a beautiful medicine, actually delivers beautiful results. And I enjoy what I do and what I see, the transformations of my patients. Absolutely amazing.
That's fantastic. So, you mentioned that everyone practices functional medicine differently. What gap did you see that made you build your own system instead of following existing models?
So some functional medicine providers, they have still protocols and they really don't address dietary needs of the patient. So, or they might address it, but somewhat. So when I work with the patient, I really go in detail. When they do blood work, it's our 5R system. We have 5Rs. And first one is reveal, understanding, right? We want to understand. So most of the patients that I see, they are inflamed and their inflammation comes from their gastrointestinal tract. So they're eating something that causes inflammation. This has to be addressed because even if I give patients supplements and there is no specific dietary plan to follow, and they're still using the same food, they might be great foods. Google says it's wonderful to eat that stuff, but for that specific person, it could be inflammatory. So I will get results, but the results will not be as pronounced. And I want results to be very loud. So I address that too. Everybody practices medicine, how they learn. And me in my practice, I added something that I saw really working. So we have to address everything. If patient has a stressor, we have to address the stressor. For example, I'll give you an example. I had a very interesting patient, lovely young woman who wasn't able to conceive. So she went to IVF, had 2 cycles, 2 or 3 cycles, I don't remember exactly. So on one of the cycles, I believe it's the last cycle, they really overly stimulated her. So this overstimulation of her ovary led her to emergency room with lots of swelling of the abdominal cavity and bleeding at the end. So at the end, she had so much pain and trauma where she had post-traumatic stress disorder. Think about it. Like this woman wanted to have a child. Now she ended up in this place. She's traumatized with that experience. When she came to me, I started working with her. And firstly, she said nothing was evident that there was a problem. But it was one episode when she said a specific sentence to me was, because we also use peptides and peptides need to be injected. It's very easy and simple to inject them at home. And she said, every time she holds a syringe, she gets anxious. I was like, wait a second, let's go back. Can you please explain to me when again in your medical journey have you had to hold a syringe, inject yourself? And she told me the IVF. As soon as I started digging, her husband was sitting right next to her. And she just said, I do not want to get pregnant. I do not want to have babies because I almost died.
Oh my God.
You see, it's subconscious. So if we have a blockage like that, the blockage, it's a block. It has to be addressed.
Wow.
Otherwise, no matter what you do, it's never going to work.
Wow. That's a phenomenal story. And again, circles back to the emotional tie and the mental tie and the even perhaps the stressful tie that is talking to the body and leading to perhaps the dysfunction in some ways. Let's go back to the 5R sequence: reveal, remove, replace, restore, regulate. Why do these in this order instead of an isolated protocol?
You have to use the order. Great healing follows a specific sequence. Firstly, how I came about this, I started practicing functional medicine and I start working with the patients. Of course, in the beginning, you try things and see what works. And what I saw, it's about 12 years ago now, the patients that had the best result where there is no guesswork. You have to follow a sequence. So they want to reveal. They want to find out what's causing the problem. Yeah, it could be the problem. It could be a sluggish thyroid gland, for example. So why is it sluggish? Are you going to give hormone or are you going to give something to clean up the problem So there is no longer sluggishness, right? Thyroid medicine by itself, it's very complex. As people think you give person a pill and you forget about it, you fix nothing. Because it doesn't fix anything. It actually will teach thyroid not to produce any more hormone at all. And you're constantly going to be relying on the hormone to take exogenous. Of course, there are conditions where thyroid is completely destroyed by immune system, and you have to give it. You know, everybody has their own story. That's why very important first to understand it. But we'll have to reveal, we want to replace. So when we reveal, we also see when patients have a lot of deficits. If patients are nutritionally deficient, their system is not going to work optimally. We have to replace what's missing. So we give patients what's missing. We have to find if patients have any kind of toxicity burden, right? My patients, I test for MTHFR gene mutation. I want to understand if they're able to detoxify. Can they clean or not? You cannot possibly test for every possible toxin in the world. It's impossible. So I want to see if they're able to clean or not. So if I see they have 1 or 2 gene mutation, I already know they cannot detoxify. So I will do everything possible to help their liver clean out so liver can manage it. So we covered 2 R's, right? We did move, we did reveal, did replace, whatever is missing, we have to replace. Body regulates itself after we do all this work. It does it because you gave the fuel. The way you start a fire, right? In order to start a fire, you have to have logs. The logs have to be dry. You have to have a source of fire. How you going to ignite it? And then you're going to see a beautiful fire. The same thing in a system. And rebuilding the blocks, understanding if there's deficiencies in order for functioning mitochondria, you need to have nutrition. So it's a cycle and they constantly circulate. So the programs that I offer to patients, we do everything the same time. We do reveal first. We do blood work, very specific AI-driven and interpreted blood work first to understand what's happening. And everything after that, once patients start this beautiful journey, we do everything the same time. So people don't have to wait for the end of 6 months to do something else. Next step, everything the same time.
Why do you think that patients come in with perfect lab results and there's still something wrong? Why do you think doctors say, hey, you're okay, you know, everything is fine just because you have perfect lab results, but they still feel bad? Why is there that disconnect?
So because firstly, and again, when in Western medicine, doctors do conventional testing. So in conventional testing, the ranges are not very accurate. So how ranges get published, right? How do we have them? They pile all people, everybody. If there is no difference of age, there is no difference of gender, and there is no difference of the status of their health and wellness. Everybody in the same pile. Think about it. If you pile everybody, how many, a percentage, let's say 100,000, how many of those 100,000 actually healthy people to create an average? Not many. So you have an average of people and their levels as average to which you're going to compare all the other people. So if you already have an average that's not optimal, and then you're comparing a person that came to you with complaint, but you comparing their labs to that not optimal labs, it's going to look just fine because everybody's sick. So this is where biggest disconnect. In order to understand, you need to have a proper range, a healthy individual, that specific age and gender. Male and female, very different. The gender also makes sense, right? It makes a difference. And then you are going to see, because we are comparing these people and their ranges to optimum range, and you will understand that this needs correction. Of course, if these poor patients going to doctor that's using only conventional laboratory and conventional ranges, if doctor sees patient is complaining, but ranges are normal, nothing will be done because that's how these doctors have been trained. So I definitely don't want to blame anybody, but also doctors have an opportunity and freedom to educate themselves if they would have time. You know, seeing patient every 15 minutes doesn't leave them times.
That's right. And it's like we're comparing apples and oranges. And if we're comparing 2 different things, there's nothing that we can really reveal from that, right? So what does it mean in a practice when a new patient walks in for you? What does that reveal first step look like?
So patients come, they sit right across from me, and I ask them very specific question. The question number one, how I can help you? They start, you will see people have hard time explaining their difficulty. They don't understand. They can't bring it up. They know they're not feeling well, but they can't voice it. A lots of times I hear, well, I don't have much energy. I'm not able to sleep. I'm always nervous and I'm very constipated all the time, or I have constipation and diarrhea at the same time. I went to my doctor. My doctor told me I have IBS and nothing would be done because nothing else to do. IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, but the patient is saying he's anxious and there is connection from the brain to the gut. So the way to fix the gut, you have to fix your brain too,
Right.
because it's connected. How are you going to do one or the other, right? And of course, most of the time, these very specific complaints of anxiety, patients are giving specific medication. Like what? Lexapro. So patient take medication, no symptoms. Don't take medication, symptoms. It's it. No. And again, body is connected. So unless we address system as a whole, not much will happen. So I also ask specific questions. Nowhere in educational components, nobody ever speaks about what wellness is like. Nobody's talking about it. We need to educate population about it. Age is just a number, and I'm saying it. Age is just a number because I had people come to me, older people in their 70s, being on program and completely recharge their body with they're full of energy. And I tell them in the beginning, I was like, listen, you're going to have so much energy. What are you going to do with it? Do you have a plan? Do you have friends? What are you going to do with it? Because lots of people already live by themselves. The partner is already gone a lot of times. So what are you going to do with this energy? Because if you have a lot of energy, nothing to do with it. What is it for? Feeling great is good. They need to understand. They need to understand the reason why they're doing it. And it is so important.
What I'm hearing you say is this reveal step is so multifaceted. Not only is it understanding what's physically wrong, you really put a therapist hat on, you put almost a life coach hat on the other side to really not only address what's going on and how do we fix it, but then what's going to happen after that. So it really is multifaceted, this first step, to really set you up for success for the rest of our steps. Let's move on to remove. What are the most common hidden obstacles that you find with people? Is it toxins? Is it stress? Is it subconscious? What tips the scales?
All of the above and some more. A lot. It's actually a lot. So for autoimmune conditions, we know that something caused it, right? Autoimmune condition caused by different factors. It's virus, bacteria, parasite that could be in a system that's causing this. So lots of times when we do blood work, and it's actually an AI interpretation, it states chronic virus, it states parasite, and it says in percentage. I had patients with 70% of parasitic infestation. These people always tell the same thing. They say not enough energy, no matter what I eat, I don't feel good. It's like everyone has specific story. People don't sleep enough. So again, they have to regulate that. The toxins are everywhere. Now we're living in a world where we are in toxic world, and most of the time people are toxic. So yes, by changing what they're eating, we're removing partially what causing the problem, but also activating the liver so they can detoxify. It's liver, kidney, lymph, and the skin. We need to push to work better so they can move things out. It's like you have an AC in your apartment or in your house. Do you doing maintenance? Do you take care of your filter in your AC? That's the system. So we need to put less gunk, but also we need to work on how do we remove gunk out of the system. So it's a whole process. It's a lot. Like when patients come and I tell them, guys, it's a full program. You're going to need to do, and I tell them exactly what they need to do. You need to sleep well. You need to eat well. You need to shop for yourself. You need to prioritize your well-being. You need to make sure you're not react to stress. Stress is always around. It's not going away. What can we change? Can we change the stress or stressor? No. What we can change, our reaction to stress. And I teach my patients how to do that, because if patients are cortisol driven, too much stress and adrenals overwork all the time, unless you take them off of this situation, they're never going to get better. If you have a patient that comes and say, you know what, I'm an insomniac, I cannot sleep. The first thing we address is sleep. And I tell them, you need to figure out the way how you sleep better so you fall in deep sleep and you can recover. Otherwise, you're never going to get well. If somebody has chronic pain and they're not sleeping, until you make them sleep, the pain never going to go away. So it's very specific. And we have multifaceted approach. We address it from all different angles, not just one. If somebody has Hashimoto's thyroiditis or ANA positive, like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, lots of women have it because of having babies and being, giving birth or any other autoimmune condition. We need to regulate immune system. And the immune system is almost everything. It's a whole body. There's no picking or choosing. You cannot do kidneys or do liver. You have to do the whole thing. And regulating the immune response. Usually for these women, their immune response is so active, it's destroying their own tissue. Wow. So you need to calm it down. So I have authored a book, actually 3 books. They're available on Amazon. And one was on autoimmune triggers. It's the thickest book, the biggest book that I have authored to explain to people so they understand where autoimmune conditions come from. And every patient that comes with autoimmune disease, or if I diagnose them, I tell them that they should never forget that their well-being is the most important for them, and they have to prioritize their health and well-being. Otherwise, it's never going to work.
It's like we almost function on autopilot so much during our days, and now with technology and advertisements, we're getting inundated by so many different things, not to mention, you mentioned the environmental toxins and the filter, like you said, even if we were to put good in, it's exhausted, it's dirty, it's depleted, and it can't function the right way. Enter functional medicine. But this is not just how to get the inside to function better. It's how to get the outside life to function better so that the inside can function better is what I'm hearing you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
Oh, okay. So now let's talk about then what's missing, the replace aspect. How do nutrients, peptides, such a hot button term right now, hormones fit into your method without over-medicating someone?
Absolutely. So firstly, everything we use, it is natural. Most of it is derived from fruits and vegetables, if it's possible. Peptides are made in a laboratory, and I tell my patients, peptides are only a signaling molecule that signals the brain or signals for thymus to do certain work. Basically, it's a little soldier that does certain thing when you order it to do so, right? If you don't order it to do so, it won't do anything. So if I have a patient, health conscious, that comes to me and tells me and guarantees me, and I have a lot of these people, trust me, that they're absolutely nutritionally dense because they're taking so many supplements, they simply cannot be deficient. To me, if you are nutritionally dense, you should be feeling like $1 million. If you don't feel like that, something is going on. Right? Like when women come and it's like, oh, the only problem I have, I cannot get pregnant. Here's a problem. If it's not your husband, then you have a big problem. And they look at me, it's like, but this is just my reproductive tract. And I'm again, but your reproductive tract is everything. It starts from your brain. It's everything. It takes so much, and I don't mind it, to educate these people. So, for example, taking you back to this person who health conscious, taking so many supplements, we test them, we do review, right? We do blood work. And when blood work comes back, deficient in every possible category, and I show it to them. I was like, look here, this and this. Vitamin B is not enough, niacin is not enough. For example, glutathione is not made, vitamin D is not enough, magnesium is very poor. And the answer is like, how come I'm taking all that stuff? So people don't understand the absorption. You're not 25 years old. You're not 15 years old. You're 40-some years old. You're worn out. Whatever life what came across your life and whatever things you had to overcome came at a price. And now mucous membranes of your digestive tract is not absorbing. So we need to rebuild all of that, repair that, and that will change. And again, with oral supplementation, I tell my patients, I educate them, only 30% of nutrition will be absorbed. 30, not 100. So if patients are local, they come here for 6 treatments and then whatever they're missing, we very quickly give them thyroid infusion. Because That is 100% absorption. And then they continuously maintain everything with oral supplementation. People not thinking about it. Not once I met anybody, any of my patients that came that was nutritionally sufficient. Everybody are in a mode of nutritional deficiency. Everyone.
I have a personal story with this. I was taking every supplement under the sun, but my body still completely shut down on the inside because the supplements and the good things, the cells were trying to keep the bad out, but they also kept the good out too. And people don't realize that that's that's happening. You're not, it's not only that you can even absorb a little bit of it, right? You can't absorb anything of it because the cells are so, nope, I can't.
They're already triggered.
They're already triggered.
They're already triggered. They're already triggered. So we have to calm down. And this is immune response. So something happened to the system. If the system thinks everything is
a threat, everything is gonna hurt.
When I work with very interesting patients, I have great people that come to me. And when women cannot get pregnant, a lot of times we find immune system is at place. It's either a lot of miscarriages or they simply cannot get pregnant. It's a different story for different people. And I understand if immune system is the one that's into play here that prevents it, because it is either the embryo is foreign that's causing a problem and the body will get rid of it. It could be in just week 3 and 4 when women didn't understand that she's pregnant or not. A lot of times they say, oh, my period, most of the times it's regular and once in a while I have this and then it's heavy bleeding. She already miscarried. She didn't even realize that she got pregnant. These women, a lot of women trying and having such a hard time. So these women, definitely you have to calm the immune system down so they can get pregnant and can carry to term. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
We talked about earlier how you mentioned you were seeing patients younger and younger coming with these issues. Is there a trend that you've noticed more problems with infertility or miscarriages because of these exact same issues? Has there been that same trending upward pattern as well?
Definitely. So I will tell you what I see from 2021. Like this 2021, the COVID era made a big difference. And I'm sure everybody sees the same thing. Women coming much younger with having no ovarian reserve, no eggs. So when we do specific testing, AMH, there's almost nothing left. The last patient that I had, she was 32 years old with no eggs in reserve. If something not going to change right now, in 2 more years, she's going to be completely menopausal. Think about it. She's not even 35 and she's going to be completely menopausal. So this lovely girl tried IVF twice because she wanted to store eggs. She wanted to put eggs to storage, which is understandable. She's in business and it's important to grow a business. So she did 2 cycles and basically the system was forced to deliver something, delivered 1 and it was good for nothing and they discarded it. Nobody can force body to do something there is no energy to do. Like you cannot squeeze something out when it's absolutely dry.
Right.
It is so important for people to understand. Yes, infertility is skyrocketing. If you used to think before, it's, 70% is female and the rest is male. Now it's 50-50. I have men come by and come to my service because they not enough sperm, not enough testosterone, and sperm is not good quality. They're not understanding for your sperm to be good enough and healthy enough to get what needs to get. To meet this beautiful egg, you need to be around 40 million per milliliter, not 20. And by the way, the standards have been already reduced twice, the numbers. So now if you research, you will see 20 million is more than enough. It's not. 20 million is never going to get there. That's why all of this now is on a rise.
Wow.
We see young people. It is very sad. And people are struggling. So if I treated patients for infertility before that time, it took me 4 months and women were pregnant. Now it's 6-8 months. It's taking ample time. Yes, they're getting pregnant. Results are still good. It just takes longer time. It became more challenging. So systems for people who either had COVID shattered a little bit. So it's a lot more work.
Right. The system is more depleted. So we need to do more to restore it, which leads us to our next R. You've said healing is rebuilding. We got to rebuild the system, and it seems like it's taking longer now. So what does that cellular, that mitochondrial restoration look like? And it's funny, we see all over the internet, there's always the joke, like everyone learned in school, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. But no one really understands that in context, though. Unpack that for us, and why is that so important, and what does it even look like?
So mitochondria, it's a cell that makes energy and gives this energy. It's a powerhouse that stimulates production of everything else that we have, the production of energy. The cell is very tiny, nobody can see that, but communication system to all other organs. So if there is no communication, if you don't have any fuel, if you need fuel, there is nothing you're going to get out of it. Nothing. So it is so important. And when people say big things about mitochondria, I looked at them, I was like, why don't you just talk about deficiency? Okay? Mitochondria is not able to give that energy because there is no fuel. They're deficient. The body is deficient. Give everything that's necessary, and mitochondria will be happy, and people will feel great, and they're going to have a lot of energy. So when I work with my patients, usually we do 2 sets of blood works. First set of blood work in the beginning, and the second set in 6 months. And my patient asks me, so can't we do blood work another one in 3 months? I was like, why? Why waste your money? He's like, well, so for you to know if I'm doing well or not. I was like, I will know if you're doing well or not. You will know 3 months, 3 weeks from the beginning. Because how you feel and how you look will change. Why do you need to do another blood work? Because I know how it works. Everything requires time. And yes, people need support, and we provide them with that support. Again, this mitochondrial talk is not difficult. People need to simplify everything.
It's almost like we're trying to run a flashlight on a dead battery. We need to replace the battery, or we're trying to turn it on, and we still have these batteries in there that aren't working. Yeah, the batteries shine the light. They make the flashlight shine, but not if they're dead, not if they don't work.
So this is what our body does, because our body is brilliant, because it was created by God. So our body will work no matter what, till the day you no longer can work. And so energy will be stored in vital organs for vital organs function, meaning for heart, for lungs, for brain, and some for kidneys. So you can function. This is what people don't understand. Now we have women in early 40s, mid 30s, that they want to have a child. They're already worn out. They're already deficient. They can function, but reproductive system is already at no state because body decided you cannot reproduce. There is a very interesting test that I test all the women who want to get pregnant. It's called sex hormone binding globulin. It's amazing. It's released out of the liver. It's specific protein. You will see for women who's absolutely worn out, sex hormone binding globulin, it's out of whack. It's so high. And patients asking me, why is this way? I said, because body, your system is so smart. It knows it doesn't have energy for another being to grow. Figure out it. So if
you can't ignore function, how can it support another life?
And finally, this preserves all the functions for you to survive. There is no way another human being can grow inside of you because you are so deficient. You're so toxic. So body does its own job to preserve you. Nothing else is important. So in order for us to redo all of this, we have to first feed you, detoxify you, make sure everything fixed, make sure your body is able to create that energy for reproduction, and only that will change. Only then that will change. And to people, these patients like, wow, it makes so much sense. Why nobody told me about it? And it's usually these patients that already had few cycles of IVF and failed. So sad. Sad.
And not to mention, you're putting the cart before the horse, and it's almost a waste of the investment because we're trying to support something that's unsupportable in the body. So we talked about how to get back to like a homeostasis kind of a place. How do we help patients regulate and sustain these results and keep them and keep balanced long term so that they don't revert back to any of the bad habits that put them in your office in the first place?
So firstly, we have an educational platform. I think I said something about it. So every patient gets educated. They're on a platform. They learn how to keep their lifestyle as clean as possible, right? Of course, being on very rigid regimen, nobody can sustain for a long period of time. And that's why for 6 months, it's most amount of work. And after that, when we are in maintenance, we teach them how you can maintain still having your normal life. Most of my patients, they travel, they have businesses, they have families, they have lots of kids, and they're all doing it. It's not like undoable. So we teach them. And of course, because we are so dependent in nutrition, let me explain to you a little bit more. So about a couple of years ago, I attended a conference. I don't remember which one it was because I attended lots of conferences. And actually somebody presented with very interesting statistic. And actually I've been to 2 different conferences. One person presented tomato and the other person presented orange. Okay. So when they presented tomato, what exactly was stated that tomato now, it is 2 years ago, now it's probably worse, now has only 30% nutrition if you compare this tomato to tomato 20 years ago, okay? The orange, that was very interesting statistics. So orange now sweeter than it was before, but nutritional value is so much less. So in order to get a nutritional value of one orange that was 20 years ago, you need to eat 8 oranges, but then it's so much more sugar.
Right.
You see? And what do we know about sugar? It's highly inflammatory. So I explained that to my patients, like if you want to change this, we need to change and you need to be nutritionally dense. And even when patients are on maintenance, I explain to them, why do we need to maintain? Because we want to make sure you're nutritionally dense, you're non-deficient. That's how you can maintain results long term. And again, why do we eat so many times a day, right? Some people eat twice a day, people eat 5 times a day for that energy, for that nutrition. So food is supposed to be nutrition. Unfortunately, now food no longer works as such because it does not deliver. So strawberry does not smell and taste like strawberry anymore. How long ago have you eaten strawberry?
Forever.
Strawberry? Like if you compare the strawberry now to strawberry when you were a child, it's very different berry. It doesn't taste the same. It doesn't smell the same. It doesn't have the same nutrition. So if anybody would have enough nutrition in their system and still knew how to clean up, we should have no problem. But there is no nutrition and systems worn out cannot clean up by themselves. There you have it.
And there you have it. Wow. I am mind blown right now. I loved learning everything that you shared with us today. And I want to go spread the word all over the place. One last question before we wrap up our conversation today. Is there a misconception about what you do, about functional or concierge medicine that you want to correct? And what would that be?
So people think that concierge functional medicine is extremely expensive. It's not. If somebody understands the value to their life and to their well-being, they should understand that should be value to personalized care. The care that I provide and we provide as a team with my staff and National Wellness Group, it's highly personalized. And that's why we have very specific people come through because people can find answers elsewhere. It's okay. We have answers, we have solutions because our body is created to heal with proper guidance. Guidance is here.
Well, thank you so much for sharing everything that you did with us today behind the thought behind the 5R method, reminding us that, real medicine starts with understanding, not just putting a Band-Aid or a mask on a symptom or a problem, which I think we as humans kind of come by naturally, right? We want the easy, quick fix to a problem, which is probably why perhaps medications, while they do have their place, have been so popular to solve things that really they aren't the solution for. But for our listeners, this is just the beginning. If you'd like to know which of the 5 R's your body needs first, schedule your Reveal consultation at the National Wellness Group in Boca Raton or visit nationalwellnessgroup.com. And don't forget to follow the 5R method on your favorite platform and share this episode with someone ready to start their journey to resilience and better energy. Thank you again, Dr. Marina.
Thank you very much for having me.